Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome to MOCA'S world. So a few videos back, I did a DIY wellness elixir, which I take as a shot or sometimes as a tea. And while I was drinking the tea, the thought came to me that I could use some of the pulp to make a very fragrant incense. So I have collected a bit of the pulp from the wellness elixir. I'm going to make cone-shaped incense. So here is one that I made, and it's very dry. I used the damp pulp and then shaped it into a cone. So we'll light that a little bit later. It's in the dry form right now. I also had some fruit tea here. This is actually the tea, bits of apple, hibiscus, red beets, corinth, which is another kind of herb, sunflower oil, and also cinnamon. And I have some other tea here. This is a dry tea bag, one of my favorite fruit teas. This one has apple, hibiscus, the shells of oranges, the shells of lemons, and another berry type fruit called Holunda berry. So I thought it would be good if I could also combine that tea in here. So I'm just going to open that into this right now. This is dry. This is an experiment. I've never done this before, but the idea came to me, and why not? And I have another herbal tea here. I can't remember which one this was, but this is a darker tea. This was just a wellness tea that I had also. So I thought, what better way to use them after I've had the tea than to combine them all to make some incense. I also have here some small pieces. I collected some dried leaves from my white sage plant, and I'm also going to do a combination of that in there as well. So in order for me to shape it properly, I have to add a little bit of liquid. So I have some tea here from this fruit tea, and I'm going to just add. I don't want to make it too wet. I want it moist enough where I can do what I need to do. But in order for me to keep it for a long period of time until I got around to doing this video, I had to dry it out so it wouldn't mildew. So I'm going to just saturate it a little bit here, since I'll have some other dry ingredients to add to it, and I don't want to dilute it too much, because again, this is residue or leftovers from the actual tea or shot that I took. So I'll just let it sit here and rehydrate, and then we should be good to go. All right. So now that it's hydrated, I'm going to just, in this case, crumble up the white sage leaves here. They're very dry, and they have such a lovely smell. I'm going to take a few more, crumble them up. These are so fragrant. Oh my goodness. They smell just as good as when they're burning. Check out my seeds to smudge stick video, because these sage plants that I have were grown from seeds. All right. So this will act as a good balance for the wetter pulp here. All right, so I think what I'll do is use this as a base for everything and make some using this, the chunks of tea here, some using the drier teas, and some with the white sage. All right, so let's dive right in. All right, let's leave that for a little bit. Just needs to rehydrate or meld together here a little bit. All right, so let's try with this one. And then I'm going to press down on it like that. So we have one, and I'm trying to squeeze it into each other here so that it maintains the shape, because as it dries it'll be more brittle. All right, so we have one. Let's see. Just spinning it around a little bit here and shaping it. That's number 2. So it seems to work better if you just put it flat on the surface there and then shape it, rather than molding it in your hands. Don't want to make the point too pointy, because then that will chip off as it dries. So here we have a third one. If it's untouched, it should dry in the shape that it's in. It'll just shrink a little bit as it dehydrates. Just do this one now. Let's see how we do with this one. The sage one smells divine. Oh my goodness. Okay, one sage. All right, so let's get these in the sun. Okay guys, so it's 3 days later, and here we have our cones nicely dried. I actually had them by a window with full sun all day long, so they seem nicely dried now. So this was the first one that I did. You saw it in the earlier part of the video. This was done with the elixir tea that I immediately squeezed and then shaped the cone. I had no issues doing that at all because it was fully hydrated. It was easy to shape. These other ones were a little more difficult, and also the texture of them, the granules were a little bit coarser, so it was a little bit harder to work with. But I feel if I had shaped them right after I had used them, they would have been easier to shape. But as I wanted to accumulate enough to make this video, I had to allow them to dry out before I could shape them. So anyway, so we're going to get into it. We're going to burn this one. This was the original one without any additives, any of the loose tea or any of the chunky tea or any of the sage leaves. So this is just a plain elixir tea. This one is one of the ones with the sage. It's very brittle, but it should do the trick. And I'm going to take one of the, let's take this one. This is one of the chunky tea ones. So this doesn't have any of the sage leaves in there. So let's see. And let's put this off to the side. So I have the lighter here. So we're going to just light them. Let's see how they do with burning. Already you can see lots of nice smoke. The more compact the cone, the longer it will take to burn out. So this one with the sage seems to be burning really, really well. I'm having to relight the other ones. The one thing I might do differently is, while the elixir tea has a little bit of coconut oil mixed into it, I think add a drop of coconut oil to some tea to rehydrate, because that way that will give it a little bit of fuel to keep it burning. They smell so good, especially the one with the white sage. And you can smell the fragrance of all the herbs and the spices in the teas. So good. All in all, I would say this was a success, and I definitely will be doing these on a regular basis. Let me know if you try to make these and how they turn out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified about new episodes.